Hey guys, how are you doing? Well, it's a new week and we have new work to do in reading. This week we're going to be focusing on being able to make predictions while we're reading. And so I fixed a chart for us to go over, and at the top it says, what is a prediction? And then it tells us, it says, a prediction is a guess you make based off of clues in text or pictures. So it's a guess that you make. You have to have information to make it. It's not just some random, just any kind of a guess. It's a guess that you have some information about, and then you make that guess. So I drew kind of a picture to help us, and so we look at the clues, we think about it, and then we can make a prediction. And when you're going to answer a question, you would say, "I think." And you'd give what you think's going to happen, and because, like, what made you think that? And there's always something. It could be a piece of the picture that you saw. It might be a sentence that you heard in the story. But all of those things help you to have a good idea when you're making a prediction about what could happen next. So I have a really neat story for you today. I'm excited to read this story with you. This story is called Bunny's Book Club. Bunny's Book Club. Okay, let me move that out of our way. So, first thing, I just really want you just to look at these animals. You see the animals on the cover? What are those animals doing? Yeah, look at them. The bear's got a good book. Bunny looks like, what's the bunny doing? Yes, I do see there's a paintbrush, and then if you look at the raccoon, he and the bird are reading, and there's another bird up here with a book, and you've got the porcupine and that reading a book. So every animal's reading a book except for Bunny, and Bunny looks like he just finished painting a sign. Do you have any idea what this sign says or what it could be? Yeah, it says Bunny's Book Club, which is also the title of the story. So Bunny wrote or painted this sign, and then it became the title of this book. So I want you to think about a prediction you could make right now. What would be something you would predict that might happen in this book? I want you to turn and talk to somebody about that, okay? Okay, now let's get started. I want us to open the book, and I want you to notice these papers. When you first open a book in a hardback book, and sometimes even in paperback books, they have these really pretty papers, and they're called end papers because they're at the end of the book. So that makes sense, right? But this is part of the drawing. A long time ago, like when I was a little girl, we had library pockets in books, and then there was a library card. And to be able to check out the book, you had to take the library card out, and you had to be able to write your name on it, and then the librarian would stamp it, and that would tell you when your book was due. And so the illustrator made the paper look just like it had a book card inside of it. So it's pretty neat, okay? So I'm going to give you your task for today. While we're reading, I want you to ponder or predict, okay? Which means you're going to think ahead, okay, of what's going on in our reading. And a good way to predict, remember I said, is it's helpful to look at the clues from the pictures and then also listen to the words, okay? So we're going to get started. Bunny's Book Club. Let me scoot over here because I want y'all to really focus in on the pictures, okay? Bunny loved books. He loved them ever since he first heard the lady with the red glasses reading aloud outside the library. As he listened, Bunny imagined himself climbing mountains, captaining a ship, running a kingdom, But when summer ended, story time moved. Oops, let me get this back. Sorry, guys. Story time moved back inside. Bunny wasn't sure if animals were allowed in the library, but Bunny was sure he couldn't live without books. Night after night, he could hardly sleep for wishing. He had to do something. So, with a flashlight in his paws and hope in his heart, Bunny jumped out of bed and tiptoed through the dark. So, what do you think Bunny might be going to do next? And remember to make your prediction. Think about the pictures and think about the words. Okay? And I want you to think about what made you think that. And then I want you to turn to somebody, your partner or someone at your home, and I want you to share with them what you think Bunny's going to do next and why do you think that. Okay? I also want to know if you and your partner are thinking the same thing. Did y'all have the same idea? Okay. My prediction is I think he's going to try to go over to the library. That's what I think he's going to do. Because he's got his flashlight out and he can't sleep and he really, really wants some books. So I think my prediction is he's going to the library because he loves books and he has his flashlight out. Okay, let's keep reading because I can't wait to see what's going to happen. Let's see. But when he reached the library door, it was locked. So were the windows. Bunny tried digging and climbing and yanking, and nothing worked. Until he noticed... Ooh, what does Bunny notice? Turn and tell your neighbor. Okay? Were the clues in the pictures? Do you see what he notices? Did you notice the same clues as your partner did? Also, when you turn and talk to somebody, sometimes your friends can help you find things that you've missed in the story. And then you find more clues. Okay, let's see. So, it says, until finally he noticed the book return. Do you know what a book return is? At public libraries, it's kind of like a huge drawer, and then it has like a slide that goes down from it, and you can take your books and you can put them there, and then they slide into the library. The shiny handle was far above his head, but it was no match for a high-hopping bunny hungry for books. Bunny leapt. He clung to the bar, flung himself over, and wriggled his cottontail through the slot. He landed inside with a thud. Bunny's eyes sparkled at the sight of the shelves bursting with books. It was better than a field full of fresh, crunchy carrots. Well, now that must be a wonderful sight for him if he thinks all these books are much better than a field full of crunchy carrots. Bunny didn't know where to start. He took a deep breath and it smelled as if he were wrapped inside the pages of his favorite book. He followed his nose to the adventure section. Then he found stories about swashbucklers, sharks, and superheroes. Bunny greedily grabbed them all. His whiskers twitching with excitement, he slipped his treasures through the book slot one by one. Then, performing his best balancing act ever, Bunny wobbled home. He could not wait to dig in. And so Bunny returned to the library each night, and he searched and sneaked, then scurried back to read. Soon his home was more books than burrow. Then one evening a loud knock startled Bunny. He closed his book and opened the door. "Where have you been?" asked Porcupine. "Reading," said Bunny. "Why?" said Porcupine. Bunny's eyes popped wide open. "Why?" he sputtered. "Have you ever been to the library?" It was time for Bunny to let Porcupine in on his secret. "Are you sure this is a good idea?" said Porcupine. Calm your quill," said Bunny. "I'm too prickly. I'll never fit." Bunny pushed and shoved until pop went Porcupine. Bunny slipped in and flipped on his flashlight. "Whoa," said Porcupine. "I know," said Bunny. "Do you think there's a story about balloons? I've always wondered about balloons." "Ah, most definitely," said Bunny. Sure enough, Porcupine found books on balloons, and on deserts and dunes, on caterpillars and cocoons. When Bunny handed him one about hedgehogs, he hugged it. The two friends took turns cramming books out the slot. Their towers teetered so high they could barely carry them. Back at Bunny's, they cozied up with cups of tea and carrot muffins. Together they read until sunrise. One night, Bear noticed the light on at Bunny's. He opened the door and tripped over a stack of books. "What's going on?" said Bear. "Here," said Bunny, handing him a book. Bear made room and settled in to read. Soon more curious animals began visiting. "Do you have any books about outer space?" said Bird. What about volcanoes?" asked the Mole. "I'd like a ghost story," said Mouse. "I think it's time for a field trip," said Bunny. Oh, where are they going to go on this field trip, guys? Yeah, we know. We know where they're going. To the library. One by one, the animals stuffed themselves inside the library. Bear did cause quite a delay. They scattered about, sniffling the stacks, pawing over pages. Squirrel gathered stories about the circus, Raccoon nabbed one about outlaws and bandits, and Frog found a fairy tale. No one heard the key in the front door. No one heard the clack, clack, clacking of footsteps. And no one heard the light flick on. So who do you think just came in the library? Yeah, I think you might be right. Oh, I've heard several different answers. And both of them sound like, it's a possibility. So if you think it could be the librarian, what clues made you think that? Is there anything that's making you think, Oh, because the librarian would have a key to the library? That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Well, let's see. Let's see if your prediction is correct. "Well, what do we have here?" said the librarian. The animals looked up in shock. Oops. Bunny gasped. Porcupine gaped. Bear groaned. "Follow me," she said. The animals all marched slowly behind her. "Oh, we're done for," said Porcupine. "All libraries have rules," said the librarian very sternly. Bunny's whiskers trembled. Porcupine's back bristled. Bear eyed the door. Bunny stepped forward to take the blame. The librarian leaned down. You see how she's leaning down? What do you think she's going to tell him? Oh, let's keep reading. Let's see. Let's see if our idea's the same. The first rule is every book lover must have one of these, she said. She handed Bunny and his friends shiny new library cards. Now, you may borrow books, she said, smiling, as long as you return them, of course. Bunny couldn't believe his ears. They could keep coming to the library? He beamed to his fellow readers, then bounced to the shelves. He picked the perfect book, and he proudly checked out the very first official selection for... What do you think he's picking out? Bunny's Book Club. He chose a book for them to read at their book club. Oh, that was a really, really great book. I really liked that book. If you want to check it out again, it's called Bunny's Book Club. Okay? And I hope you were able to make some good predictions. And then you were using the clues and the pictures to help make those predictions. So I have a question for you. You know, when you were able to turn and talk to a friend or talk to a grown-up or brother or sister at your home, how do you think that being able to talk to someone else helped you be better at predicting and understanding? Do you have any ideas? I think it's always good when you can talk to other people because it helps you learn from them. Because there's so many times, you know, there's so much to learn and so much information to gather and so many things to see. I think it's always great when you can talk to other people. As grown-ups, we do that a lot. We talk to each other and we learn from each other so that we can be better and understand things. Now, do you know anyone that's ever been in a book club? Have you ever heard of what a book club is? Well, a book club is it's a group of people who like to read a lot, and there's usually one person that's kind of gets the group together, and then they go through and they choose a book to read, and each person goes home and they all read the same book. And then they come back together at a meeting and they talk about all the different ideas they had from the book. They talk about things that they didn't understand in the book. They talk about things they loved about the book. They talk about things that they didn't love about a book. So it's a really neat way for people who love to read to come together, and you can learn from each other and become better readers and understand what you're reading better. Okay, so this is your job. I would like for you to design a book club sign. Okay, remember on the front of the book, this is what Bunny's Book Club, that was the one sign. And then on the very last page, Bunny did one like that where it said Bunny's Book Club. But I want you to think about how would you design a book club sign, and I want you to design it, and then I want you to pick out at least, let's do 2 books that if you were starting a book club, what would be the first 2 books that you would want you and your friends to read in the book club and to discuss? Guys, I hope you enjoyed this story. Again, it's Bunny's Book Club. It was written by Annie Silvestro, and it's illustrated by Tajana My Wise. Okay? All right, guys, have a good day.